They set up the wheelchair girl on a fake blind date with the CEO millionaire to joke her. His actions left them in tears. It was a crisp early autumn afternoon, and the little wooden cafe tucked between two brick buildings on the corner buzzed softly with a hum of conversations and clinking cups. The smell of cinnamon and roasted coffee lingered in the air. It was the kind of place where no one dressed up too much and no one tried too hard. Emotions, if any, would show clearly here. Emily Bennett sat quietly in a corner near the large front window, her back straight, but her hands twisting around the strap of her bag. Her golden hair was tied low, neatly behind her shoulders. Her face, delicate and pale, seemed calm at first glance, but her deep, dark eyes flickered with nerves. She kept adjusting her scarf, her fingers trembling slightly. The wheelchair was barely visible beneath the round wooden table. She had positioned herself carefully, hoping the table would shield it from view for as long as possible. It was her first date in over 3 years. She had only agreed because an old college friend insisted the guy was just a normal nice guy and it would be low pressure. She had made sure it wasn't some charity setup. They promised it wasn't. Emily had wanted to believe them. But across the room at a table by the window, 3 of those same friends huddled with iced lattes and cruel smirks. 2 women, 1 man, all former classmates, whispered as they tilted a phone to record from a distance. Wait until he sees the chair. One of them muttered under her breath, "He thinks he's showing up to meet some blonde LinkedIn model." The other snorted, "Give it 5 minutes tops before he walks. This is content gold." The bell above the cafe door chimed. Jason Miller stepped in, wearing a tailored charcoal gray suit that fit him with effortless precision. Jason looked every bit the CEO headlines talked about. Clean lines, crisp shirt, understated tie, polished confidence. Yet there was nothing loud or showy about him. No entourage trailing behind. No assistant whispering updates. Just a tall, composed man who carried power the way others wore a coat. Naturally, his eyes swept the cafe with calm, assessing focus. The practiced gaze of someone who negotiated with boardrooms for a living, yet still noticed the quietest person in the room. His eyes landed on her, a blonde woman sitting very still. Her head was bowed slightly, as if bracing herself. She was adjusting her collar again. Her cheeks were slightly flushed. She did not look up at him. Jason paused for a second. 1 breath. 2. Then he crossed the cafe, pulled out the chair opposite her, and sat down. "Emily," he asked. She looked up, startled that he hadn't just walked away. "Yes, you're Jason." "I am," he replied with a small smile, his eyes narrowing slightly, not with judgment but curiosity. "Is this spot comfortable for you? We can move to another table, if it's easier." Emily blinked, then gave a small smile. "No, this is fine. Thank you." Across the room, the friends' faces dropped. Jason reached into his coat, took out his phone, and without checking anything, turned off and placed it face down on the table. Then he leaned forward slightly relaxed. For the next 45 minutes, they talked. Emily told him about her work as a freelance graphic designer, about how she had taught herself 3D modeling online when she couldn't go to classes anymore, about her mother, who she cared for full time, about the little lavender plant she kept on her windowsill. "It's stubborn like me." Jason didn't interrupt. He didn't nod dramatically or say things like, "You're so brave." He just listened. When he did speak, it was soft, thoughtful. You have a way of speaking that makes someone want to draw you. And later, not many people hold on to gentleness. After a crash like that, Emily laughed. Really laughed for the first time in weeks. When she reached for her phone to pay for her drink, Jason raised a hand gently. "Next time. If there's a next time, you can treat. But today, let me have the honor of thanking you." She opened her mouth to ask, "Thank me for what?" But he was already rising from his seat. He didn't walk away just yet. He leaned slightly, lowering himself to her eye level. No pity, no awkwardness, just sincerity. "Thank you for giving your time to someone like me. And if it's okay, I'd really like to see you again. Not because anyone asked me to, just because I wanna." Her face warmed. She was speechless. And across the room, the trio of friends put down their phones. The footage they had wanted, Jason storming off, maybe throwing a sarcastic comment, never came. Instead, they had witnessed something real, and it left them stunned. Emily didn't know yet that this moment would change her life. She only knew that for the first time in years, someone had truly seen her. Not the wheelchair, just her. The cafe had gone quiet a long time ago. Outside, the city moved on, unaware of the storm brewing in one girl's world. That night, just hours after what Emily had thought was a genuine connection, the nightmare began. Her old college acquaintances, the same ones who had encouraged her to go on the blind date, uploaded a TikTok clip. It had been filmed secretly from across the cafe. The caption read, "Diamond's EO gets tricked into a blind date with a girl in a wheelchair." The video showed her smiling gently, nervously, tucking her hair behind her ear, then Jason entering, pulling out a chair, sitting. Laughter from the video's background could be heard if you listened closely. Within hours, the post blew up. Comments flooded in. Some were mocking. Pity date. Classic. Bet rich guys do this just to feel good about themselves. Imagine being her. I'd disappear. Others were meaner, crueler. People online were always quick to judge, always quick to dehumanize. Emily saw the video the next morning. She sat in her room, sunlight barely reaching through the curtains. She clicked the link someone sent her. She froze for 30 seconds. She didn't breathe. Then her hands started to shake. Her face turned white as she scrolled through comments. One read, "She's playing the victim card too well." Another, "This is so staged it hurts." Emily closed her laptop, stumbled back into her room, locked the door, and didn't come out all day. When her mother knocked softly hour after hour, she only answered once through a crack in the door. "I'm fine, Mom. Just tired, just sleepy." But inside, she was folding it on herself. At a Monday morning meeting across town, Jason's assistant casually mentioned, "Hey, you've seen the video going viral, right?" Jason looked up. "What video?" The assistant hesitated, then pulled it up. Jason watched the first 10 seconds without expression. At 20 seconds, his jaw clenched. By the end, he had turned off the screen. His hands rested still on the table, but his knuckles were white. He said nothing, just sat there, eyes hard as stone. That afternoon, Jason logged into LinkedIn. He didn't ask for PR advice, didn't run it through anyone. He typed, rewrote, then posted a message himself. "I lost faith in dating long ago, but yesterday, I met someone who made me believe again. If you want a joke, do it without using the heart of someone brave as your punchline." Jason Miller. The post spread like wildfire. It hit a nerve. Some would laugh at the video before came back to apologize. "I was wrong. This hit me hard. Emily, if you're reading, none of us deserve you. Jason, thank you for standing up." Meanwhile, Emily shut everything down. She deleted her accounts, declined freelance jobs. She sat alone in the same room where she had once dared to believe she could belong in the world again. And now all she saw were shadows. To her, every notification was a new bullet. Every buzz of her phone sounded like someone laughing at her. Her mother knocked again that evening, voice soft but pained. "Emily, when people treat you cruelly, it speaks about them, not you." But Emily didn't answer. Jason had no way to reach her. No number, no social, nothing. But he remembered one thing, the name on her drink order at the cafe. He searched the system, found the email she used, and wrote, "You did nothing wrong. Thank you for being exactly who you were during that date. If you're okay, I'm glad. If you're not, and you want to walk or just sit in silence, I'm still here." JM that night, Emily sat in her dark room wrapped in a blanket, the faint sound of the TV murmuring from the living room. The news anchor was mentioning something about Jason Miller's LinkedIn post, and the unexpected kindness that shocked the internet. Emily opened her inbox, saw the message. Her hand hovered over the keyboard, then stopped. She didn't reply, but her eyes welled up, not from shame. Not this time. Someone had chosen to stand beside her. When even she couldn't stand beside herself, Emily's first email was short, just one sentence. "Thank you for not walking away." Jason didn't reply immediately, but when he did, it was just a simple, "I'm taking a walk in the park near your neighborhood this Saturday morning." If you need air or just want to see someone who won't ask too many questions, feel free to come. She read it twice, then again didn't respond. But on Saturday, she was there. She wheeled herself to a quiet bench near the walking path under a maple tree that had just begun to turn gold. She didn't go over to him. She didn't have to. Jason was already sitting on a bench a few yards away, phone in hand, doing absolutely nothing. He didn't wave. He didn't interrupt her silence. He just sat, two people alone but not lonely. The breeze moved gently between them, like a third presence. Neither of them spoke that day. But the next morning, an email arrived in her inbox. A photo of a tiny pink flower sprouting from a crack in the sidewalk. Caption: "Today looks a little gray, but I think someone still made it beautiful." The next day, a photo of a clumsy dog sniffing a bush in a line. He shoved his whole face in the leaves and then sneezed himself into the fountain. "I think you would have drawn him perfectly." Emily replied, not much at first. A comment, a single emoji, then a short thought, then longer. When Jason sent a rough draft of a logo for a charity campaign and wrote, "I remember you said you studied graphic design. Not sure if this is your kind of thing, but maybe you'd have a fun idea just for play." Emily stared at the attachment for an hour. Then, without replying, opened her design software. That night, she sent back a file. Clean, refined, perfect. She didn't explain. Just hit send. Jason wrote back, "I'm using it. It's MarkDB. Unless you want your full name, PS payment was converted to bubble tea vouchers, since someone once said she didn't want money. If I'm wrong, I owe you an apology and a paycheck." She laughed, really laughed, the kind that echoed in her small kitchen. That night, she replied, "It's not work, just a little bit of being seen." And that's what it became. Quiet emails, short stories, photos of broken light through leaves, notes that asked nothing, promised nothing, but arrived every morning like breath. One rainy afternoon, her printer broke. She texted, "My printer's dead. File won't print." Jason replied, "Send it. I'll print and drop it off." 2 hours later, the doorbell rang. She opened the blinds and saw him standing outside the gate, holding a paper bag covered in waterproof wrap. He didn't call out. He just left it and walked back to his car. Inside was a design printed in full color and a smaller package. A slice of lemon loaf cake, soft and warm with a note. "Guessing you forgot to eat while working. If I'm wrong, eat it anyway. It's good." That night, Emily's mother passed by her door and heard something rare. Her daughter laughing. She knocked lightly. "Are you dating someone?" Emily looked up, cheeks pink. "No, just someone who doesn't make me feel small." Her mother smiled, said nothing, and walked away. Days passed. The routine continued until one evening. Jason's email arrived with only a single sentence. "I don't know if I can make you believe in the world again, but I believe in you enough to wait." Emily stared at it for a long time. Her fingers hovered over the mouse, then moved to the wheel of her chair. She whispered, "If you're patient enough, maybe I can stand again, even if it's only with my heart." For the first time in years, Emily Bennett dared to let the light in. After weeks of quiet emails and silent companionship, something inside her began to shift. Not all at once, but gradually, like a sunrise that didn't rush the dark. With a hesitant heart, she launched her own tiny shop from the corner of her home. She called it Belle's Shed, handmade and honest. It wasn't grand, just a set of shelves filled with hand-poured candles, simple soaps, and soft-toned home decor pieces wrapped lovingly in paper she designed herself. The logo, a pressed lavender sprig inside a wax stamp, was her quiet signature. Her first thank you card, tucked into a small candle box, read, "My hands aren't as fast as they once were, but my heart still knows how to make something beautiful." Orders trickled in. A neighbor. Then, too, someone from across the street who'd always nodded but never spoken before. Then a sudden flurry of 5-star reviews came from usernames she didn't recognize. She never guessed they belonged to Jason. Each review was detailed, sincere, not flattery, just truth. The lavender one smells like peace after a long day. Or Belle, whoever you are, don't stop making these. Then came a box left at her door. Inside, premium wax beads, dried petals, oils, and a folded note in handwriting she now knew by heart. Your lavender made a long day feel gentle. Don't stop, Belle. That night, she worked late into the evening, fulfilling her first wave of real demand. She skipped dinner without realizing. Her hands ached. Her eyes stung. She kept pouring wax, lining up jars on the counter until a tremor in her fingers betrayed her. The tray slipped. Dozens of candles crashed to the floor. Glass shattered, fragrance spilled. Emily froze, then dropped to the floor, helpless as wax bled across her tiles. Her chest tightened. She curled forward, head in her hands. Tears came, slow at first, then shaking. I can't do this, she whispered. I'm not strong enough. I'm not. The doorbell rang. She didn't move. A moment later, a knock, then the sound of a key in the lock. Jason had never used it before, but she had given it to him 2 weeks ago without thinking. He didn't speak when he saw her on the floor. He didn't gasp. He didn't ask if she was okay. He simply knelt down beside her and started picking up glass one by one, carefully in silence. Then he wiped wax on the floor, set the upright jars aside, checked her hands for cuts, and said nothing that sounded like comfort, but everything that felt like it. By the time the sky padded through the window, the kitchen was clean again. Jason stood and filled the kettle. Emily sat at the table, a blanket around her shoulders. He placed a warm mug of tea beside her, sat across from her, and drummed his fingers gently on the wood, slow and soft, like a lullaby. Her voice cracked. You don't have to stay for this. Jason looked up quiet. Neither do you, but if you're going through it, you don't have to be alone. She stared at him, her eyes glassy and raw. He didn't smile. He didn't touch her. He just stayed. And in that fragile silence, something stronger than pity formed between them. Something not loud, not rushed, but real. Healing, Emily would learn, didn't come in grand gestures. Sometimes it came in the shape of a man sitting on your kitchen floor at 3 a.m., helping you clean up the pieces, without ever asking why they broke. The darkness came back before Emily even saw it coming. It started with a post, a photo, old, untouched by time, of her standing in a track uniform, laughing, alive, upright. The caption dripping with venom read, "She's been playing the poor me act for years." Nothing like a sad story to sell scented candles to soft hearts. It came from him, the boy who once said he loved her, the one behind the wheel the night her world ended. He had vanished after the crash. But now he returned not with remorse, but with a smear. The post spread like wildfire. Words she'd never imagined attached to her name now littered comment sections. Scammer faking it for pity points. She's been lying to everyone. Customers began to cancel orders. Some demanded refunds. A few sent angry emails accusing her of milking trauma. Within 48 hours, her store's online rating dropped. She tried to respond, then gave up. It got worse. Her mother collapsed at home 2 days later. The diagnosis came fast and unforgiving. Acute heart complications. Immediate surgery required. Insurance covered little. Time was short. Emily sat in the hospital room, the smell of antiseptic heavy in her throat, her mother asleep beside her, face pale under the fluorescent light. Her phone buzzed with another canceled order. She turned it over. Screen down. I tried, she whispered. I tried to be better. Why does the world keep dragging me back? The next morning, she shut down Belle's shed. No announcement, no explanation. She simply closed the browser window, folded her laptop, and stared at her bedroom wall until night returned. Then came a knock. It wasn't loud, just steady, familiar. Jason stood at her door, holding nothing but a calm presence and tired eyes. He didn't ask for permission. He didn't offer pity. And in that fragile silence, something stronger than pity formed between them. Something not loud, not rushed, but real. Healing, Emily would learn, didn't come in grand gestures. Sometimes it came in the shape of a man sitting on your kitchen floor at 3 a.m., helping you clean up the pieces without ever asking why they broke. The darkness came back before Emily even saw it coming. It started with a post, a photo, old, untouched by time, of her standing in a track uniform, laughing, alive, upright. The caption, dripping with venom, read, "She's been playing the poor me act for years. Nothing like a sad story to sell scented candles to soft hearts." It came from him, the boy who once said he loved her, the one behind the wheel the night her world ended. He had vanished after crash. But now he returned not with remorse, but with a smear. The post spread like wildfire. Words she'd never imagined attached to her name now littered comment sections. Scammer faking it for pity points. She's been lying to everyone. Customers began to cancel orders. Some demanded refunds. A few sent angry emails accusing her of milking trauma. Within 48 hours, her store's online rating dropped. She tried to respond, then gave up. It got worse. Her mother collapsed at home 2 days later. The diagnosis came fast and unforgiving. Acute heart complications. Immediate surgery required. Insurance covered little. Time was short. Emily sat in the hospital room, the smell of antiseptic heavy in her throat. Her mother asleep beside her, face pale under the fluorescent light. Her phone buzzed with another canceled order. She turned it over. Screen down. "I tried," she whispered. "I try to be better. Why does the world keep dragging me back?" The next morning, she shut down Belle's shed. No announcement, no explanation. She simply closed the browser window, folded her laptop, and stared at her bedroom wall until night returned. Then came a knock. It wasn't loud, just steady, familiar. Jason stood at her door, holding nothing but a calm presence and tired eyes. He didn't ask for permission. He didn't offer pity, and for once didn't doubt that someone meant it. The small victory of reopening Belle should felt like a fragile blossom in Emily's life. And one golden afternoon, under the soft glow of the early summer sun, she and Jason stood in her little backyard garden among lavender pots and soft green leaves. The festival crowd had shown interest in her candles. The shop was getting attention. Jason had guided her outside, away from the orders, the messages, the noise. He turned to her, voice calm but serious. "I don't want to be the kind of man who just shows up, does something nice, and then disappears. I want to stay with you for real." Emily's hands dropped to her lap. Her eyes, once bright, flickered with hesitation. She took a long breath, fingers tightening around the fabric of her dress. Finally, she whispered, "You deserve someone who isn't broken, someone whole." Jason reached out, his fingers brushing hers. He didn't push. He didn't demand. He only offered presence. The silence stretched between them. Not angry, not peaceful. A fault line opened quietly. A week passed. Jason's messages slowed. Business at his company demanded more of him. He traveled. He answered fewer calls. Emily waited, but the waiting felt heavy. In the empty quiet of her apartment, she felt small. Her mother, noticing the change, sat beside her one evening. "Sweetheart," she said, "he's built a big world. Sometimes a small body can't keep up." Emily nodded, though each word hit like salt on an open wound, because she remembered the accident, the abandonment, the nights alone. She slipped away quietly, closed the shop's website, deleted the saved texts. Her final message to Jason was short, crisp, and armor more than a goodbye. "Thank you for coming into my life. I'm okay now. You should live yours." Days passed. Jason did not respond. 2 whole days. Then finally he came. He walked into the workshop like a man walking into a courtroom. His voice cold but not cruel, just steady. "So this is how you say goodbye." Emily turned, eyes red, hands shaking. She collapsed onto her wheelchair. Tears fell, soft but unforgiving. "I can't compete with your world," she said. "I don't want to be another burden." "Not now," Jason sighed, a sound like conceding pain. He spoke softly, but each word felt heavy. "I don't know what I have to do for you to trust me. I don't know how to be enough. If you don't want me, I'll go." He didn't storm out. He didn't plead. He just turned away and walked out. Emily watched until the back gate closed. And for the first time in many months, all she felt was emptiness. For weeks, Jason disappeared from social media. No updates, no witty posts, no new photos from his tech events or quiet bookshop corners. Emily noticed. Even though she had told herself it was over, her eyes still searched for his name in the digital silence. Each empty screen felt like confirmation that he had moved on, but her heart wasn't convinced. One rainy Tuesday, as she was restocking a shelf in her shop, the bell above the door rang. A delivery man stood there with a slim brown package addressed only to E.B. in Jason's handwriting. Inside was her sketchbook, the same one she had brought to the cafe on their very first meeting. She thought it was lost, misplaced in the whirlwind of everything that followed. But Jason had kept it quietly, safely. Between the pages, folded neatly, was a handwritten note on cream stationery. I took this so I could remember who you were, especially if you ever forgot. If you need me, just say the words. Don't go once, Jason. Emily's fingers trembled as she held the book. Her breath caught in her throat. That night, she didn't eat. She didn't sleep. She just sat at her desk, flipping to the pages she had once been too scared to share. Each sketch was raw, imperfect, but honest like her. The next morning, her mother knocked gently on the door, then stepped in when Emily didn't answer. You're crying, her mother said quietly, sitting beside her. Emily tried to wipe her face. I don't know what to do. Her mother reached out, held her hand, and said something she had never said before. You spent so long being afraid of being left. You convinced yourself you had to carry everything alone. But strength, sweetheart, real strength, is knowing when to let someone love you. That was it. The moment the walls cracked. By early afternoon, Emily had closed the shop. She didn't message. She didn't call. She simply went. She arrived at Jason's office only to be told he was at the hospital. His mother had been admitted the day before. Emily didn't hesitate. She found him sitting beside a hospital bed, a book open but unread in his lap. His shirt was wrinkled, his eyes hollow, a shadow of stubble along his jaw. He looked tired, so tired but still solid. Jason turned at the sound of her wheelchair, softly rolling closer. Their eyes met, and for a long second neither moved. Then Emily spoke. Her voice was barely more than a whisper. Jason, don't go. He didn't say a word, just stood up and walked to her. Then slowly, gently, he wrapped his arms around her. And for the first time since the accident years ago, Emily allowed herself to lean into someone fully without fear, without apology. Her head rested against his chest. His arms tightened. No explanations, no grand declarations, just warmth, breath, presence. The sterile hospital hallway faded behind them. In that moment, all that existed was a quiet knowing that even broken things could be held and maybe, just maybe, loved. A month later, Bell's Shed reopened. This time, not just as a shop, but as something more. Jason had helped Emily build a full website. It was clean, elegant, and accessible. Orders began coming in not only from their city, but from out of state. People weren't just buying candles anymore. They were supporting something they believed in. Emily launched her first online course, Candlelight for Quiet Souls, specifically designed for individuals with disabilities. Her students ranged from a teenage girl recovering from surgery to a retired veteran rebuilding his routine. Every week, Emily recorded video tutorials with her gentle voice guiding through each step. In the background of one video, Jason's voice could be heard arguing with her playfully about wax colors. I'm telling you, orange and cedarwood is a classic fall combo. That's because you have zero sense of elegance, Emily teased. Elegance is overrated. This smells like comfort. They both laughed. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. One day, a well-known lifestyle influencer who had once ordered her lavender tea lights invited Emily onto her podcast. Jason offered to handle her tech setup, but sat quietly off camera during the interview. Emily sat up straight, wearing a soft gray sweater, her hair loosely tied. When asked how she overcame everything, she didn't blink. I didn't overcome it, she said. I just learned how to live with it and to let myself be happy. Even if not everything is fixed, even if I am not whole in the way people expect, I'm still me, and that's enough. That episode was shared widely, not because it was dramatic, but because it was honest. One evening, long after sunset, Emily and Jason sat outside in her backyard. The fire pit crackled quietly between them. They wrapped their hands around mismatched mugs of tea. Jason stared into the flames. I used to think love was about fixing someone, like saving them. Emily smiled. And then you showed me that sometimes love just means staying. Even when it's quiet, even when it's hard. She turned toward him. Her voice was soft. And you showed me something bigger, that even if my body doesn't stand the way it used to, my heart can still learn how to love again. Neither said anything more. They didn't need to. There was no wedding in the next month. No grand declarations, no fireworks, just mornings and nights, boxes and emails, wax and wicks. Emily sat at the candle station. Jason moved between kitchen and desk, humming as he brewed their usual chamomile blend. Outside, the rain tapped gently against the window pane. Emily glanced up at him, candlelight dancing across her face. "Do you think?" she began. "If I had known that first date was a setup, I would have still gone." Jason turned toward her, placing the mugs down with a smile. "I hope so," he said, "because that was the first time I saw a beautiful girl tying her hair back like she was bracing herself for disappointment. And I knew I'd never be the one to give it to her." They sat in quiet for a moment longer, the soft scent of vanilla and lavender filling the air, and the world, for once, didn't feel like it needed to be fixed. Just lived, just shared. Emily looked down at her hands, slower now but steady. She reached across the table, took Jason's hand, and held it in hers. No one saved anyone. They simply chose to stay together. No one is perfect. But when someone sees you fully, truly, and chooses to stay, that's where happiness begins.